Okay, and it looks like we're in.
Prepare for
So Alpha Red, this time around they got a pretty solid draft, making sure that you try to counter New Beginning's approach to this game in any way possible. But the thing is, New Beginning, first of all, they have a ton of push, and second of all, their draft is pretty versatile still. Tiny without an IO might not seem all that good, and he will have some really major mana struggles. But the thing is, with a draft like this, from New Beginning, you don't need to win every team fight. You only need to win one team fight to give you about a minute with the tier 3 tower and the Rax. And, well, with a Tiny, with a Venomancer and a Shadow Shaman, that should be all the time you need.
30 seconds to battle.
So in terms of wards, this game not all that special.
The battle begins.
Time is money.
The Radiant got a near perfect ward on the mid lane. Perfect would be if you could get this area covered, but if you look at the tower, you could have only put it a tiny bit further. Here maybe. And we've seen it before where somebody accidentally placed this type of ward under the tower by accident, and everybody just went ahead and memed a bit about it in the all chat. So you don't want to take the risk. Ward hitboxes can be kind of wacky. Okay, insta toss there. BB under the tower, taking 2 tower hits, 3 tower hits, but it's going to get away thanks to the solve. Still a really good start for Yamate here. Immediately putting out a ton of harass damage on his mid lane by means of tossing the opponent under the tower. The new toss mechanic is kind of fun. That doesn't mean Yamate won't have mana troubles if he doesn't get it off perfectly every now and then. At least BB will be forced back a bit. Can't just let Tiny get into melee range. And Earthshake coming in to go for some more Fisher shenanigans. With Kunkka keeping BB on the tip of his toes. I don't think we're going to see a ton of action here on the mid lane. Meanwhile, over on the bottom lane, Abaddon off-laning. He's going to be fine, I mean... Never mind, as long as he doesn't get greedy and tries to go for kills or get greedy last hits. He's going to have a pretty easy lane because Abaddon... You're super resilient, especially if you go for a Soul Ring. To just enable that Aphotic Shield to save your life a couple of times. But Coffee Mix and Ling, they just want to bully him out of lane. They don't really mind if you kill Abaddon or not. As long as he doesn't get fat, as long as he can't really do anything throughout the early and mid game. Have a significant advantage coming out of the laning stage. My pro taking a lot of napalm, even with the time walk. NJ still has enough mana to just keep going on the void. Time walk was even. I thought time walk wasn't even on cooldown there, but it wouldn't have mattered either way. If you take that much napalm and can't get out in time, try to hide behind your tower. Bat Rider can follow you like that. And then you're kind of screwed, so... My pro going down as the first blood there. Made the mistake of taking 1 napalm too many to the face. BB gone on here with the torrent. They can go for a toss combo. And BB goes on down to Ifyu there. Yamate is going to be fine. Meanwhile, Nevermind dropped as well on the bottom lane. And now Alpha Red there losing all 3 of their lanes. The Void went down, the Visage went down, and the Abaddon went down. meaning only the 2 supports haven't dropped yet. And New Beginning this time around, I think, got some motivation from their last victory to try some new stuff. And like I said before, New Beginning, in terms of skill and experience, they are kind of superior, because in the tier 2 scene, it's not about how good a player can become, how good a player actually is. We saw TNT on the Lich last game around, play like a freaking god, get a super good start off, turn 3 fights in a row around with his big Lich ultimate, perfectly positioned, perfectly timed. It was really amazing, but it didn't win the game. And that's one of the issues with tier 2 Dota compared to tier 1 Dota, because in tier 1 Dota, the team with higher individual skill who has a better cap when it comes to self-improvement, who has better reflexes, more experience and all that, will always win. Whereas in tier 2 Dota, it's mostly about how much you practiced, how used are you to your heroes, how used are you to the team you're playing against. Which means, for a lot of teams, it's just kind of coin toss. Will we be relevant in this meta while they try to improve their hero pools, try to get more experience? But practice matters way more compared to tier 1 Dota, where it's all about individual skill. Nevermind goes down. So will NJ to MyPro, so 1 return kill for Team Alpha Red on the Faceless Void, who really needs a couple of kills to work with. Red Rider now going to come on in. Try and... Okay, so not putting all that much pressure on MyPro here. The Napalm of the Mark means MyPro can now continue to farm up. Yamate meanwhile went on down. This time around the Fissure shenanigans will finally be on point, as there was no support around to babysit. Coffee Mix just doing Venomancer things. Ward firing squad.
Gold for my chest. Bounty.
We look at the last hits. Venomancer is going really well, so is Visage.
Not so safe harbor, eh?
NT taking a ton of damage, not enough to finish the job though. And NJ ran it by the Void. Will manage to get out of there, but now Alpha Red just regained quite a bit of control of their top lane, which is nice. Abaddon goes on down very deep under his tower. 2 Venomancer who decide to chase, have him take down, prevent the deny from happening. Diffuse goes down. Bit of an overkill there from BB. NJ is going to be the next target. Double kill for BB there, just securing 1 kill after another with the Soul Assumption. Gravekeeper Cloak, keeping him safe. And the Cloak is such an annoying skill to deal with. I like that because Visage is supposed to be tanky. It's not like you got the late game damage output to really be useful otherwise. The only problem is it's a bit too strong against a lot of the currently popular mid lane heroes, including the Tiny. Because as you can see here, BB only took like 20% of the total Avalanche Toss combo, which would otherwise nearly be an insta-kill. And what are you supposed to do if you're Tiny? I mean, it's not like you can somehow approach Visage differently. It's not like you can itemize against it or anything. Ling now goes on down, and the Venomancer will get caught with Chronosphere. And like I said before, the Chronosphere is not a really big team fighting tool without any damage to really consistently at least put into the Chrono. Tiny going for an Avalanche Toss combo, gets 1 kill, gets 2 kills. Yamate now going full ham. Might not be great against Visage, but anyone else he can kill. Shadow Shaman comes in from the sidelines. This is just going to be a one team fight. Triple kill on Yamate. BB coming in, charging in there as well, but this time around there are some other heroes committed, and Illus. Everything you need. Melt through the Gravekeeper's Cloak. It might be a hard skill to deal with in lane, but in a setup like this, Team New Beginning pulling ahead by 4k now.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
This Tiny off to a perfect start, and despite the odds kind of being stacked against him, okay, you can kill your mid lane opponent, your entire main point as a hero gets completely negated. That does seem like a really bad start, but all of a sudden with that team fight he managed to recover. Never mind, going to be the next target here. Yamate getting the ownage going for Team New Beginning on his giant Tiny. I mean, he's good on that hero. He likes that hero, I guess. Either he really likes Tiny or he just really likes nuking people down, because his positioning and his movement are on point. He's hitting for 160 physical damage now, plus the giant magical damage combo. And set combo is available here, so if you find somebody, they're just gonna die. The next tier 1 tower getting pressured as well with the Venom Ward.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
NJ, who had kind of a hard lane, will get his blink dagger at pretty decent timing. And I mean, the off lane is called hard lane for a reason. So Bad Rider is one of those heroes who's got to handle falling behind, who's got to handle having to make a bit of a comeback. And NJ, he seems quite capable of that. On the bottom lane, meanwhile, Yamate on the chase, getting himself another double kill. Two supports roaming, using the buddy system not to get caught out. Doesn't really matter against Tiny, because you toss the one support on the other support and both take a ton of damage. So Tiny dealing out nearly 1,000 damage there. It's so ridiculous how fat Tiny can get himself if he's provided some space to work with. Just look at this. I mean, Venomancer, he's been pushing towers. He's been pretty much left to doing what he wanted all game. Now he's going to eventually go down, I guess. With the ultimate, ship coming through. Won't really do anything here.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Bad Rider comes on in. Earthshaker will be the target here. With a lesser on the Void. Earthshake going down to the creeps there. Just makes sure he runs in. Not give any experience. Bad Rider tries to go on Rubik. Went a bit too greedy there. If you will be able to get out. X marks the spot plus Torrent. Such an annoying combo. You need hardly any skill to hit it at all. Once you get the timing down, the only time you really need skill is if you have a hero like Faceless Void who can actually juke out of there.
Back to 4.
Setting up another kill for the Tiny. He's just playing this so brave, so aggressively, and is getting away with it. As he's got Yamate to frontline for him. Tiny going to go for an early Silver Edge. Tiny could potentially go for the Orchid as well. I mean, he benefits a ton from attack speed, he benefits a ton from mana regen. And then he's able to just solo kill Abaddon. BB not really going to take a whole lot of damage here from the Tiny due to the Gravekeepers, but with Bad Rider he almost goes on down. Not quite though, thanks to the Hood of Defiance being activated there. Instead NJ will be the target. Yamate still on the roam, still looking for anything he can get. Hello there, Earthshaker. Nice meeting you. Goodbye. Tiny, it's so ridiculous. I mean, the hero has some pretty obvious weaknesses, but one of those weaknesses has been picked by Team Alpha Red here, who are now struggling to keep themselves in this game as New Beginning are continuing the insane aggression. Coffee Mix, trying to teleport out, gets caught by Rubik. He is sitting on the top of net worth, so this is a pretty huge kill, which is going to go to BB on the Visage. Still, BB, I don't know, I like him a bit more on the greedy heroes, just because I feel like they fit his playstyle a bit better. It's not that he can just play that whole heavy fighting style. We just saw him get away from a Bat Rider there, keeping one of his burps out of the fire a bit. It's just that BB, he's huge with all of those mid lane carries which are so popular nowadays, like the Anti-Mage, like the Phantom Lancer.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Okay, and we got a lasso on the Earthshaker here, who is just going to have one health game. Tiny comes on in again, kills him again. He gives the well played there. I think he really didn't like being caught out.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Tier 1 tower for Tier 2 tower seems like a pretty good trade in favor of New Beginning. And Alpha Red, they need to make something happen. They don't have a big Chronosphere synergy, so you can't just say if we hit the Chrono we win a team fight. Of course, Visage can push hard, Abaddon can save a couple of lives. There's the Chronosphere, which this time around might actually be able to win a team fight. But in comes the ship, Ram buff. MyPro going to teleport out of there. Nothing they can do to stop it, so Tiny's going to continue roaming. Continue to look for more. Visage killed a Bat Rider on the top for quite a bunch of damage. That just shows BB, he's not out of this game. TNT meanwhile goes on down on the Rubik. Going 0-4 this game. Which is kind of sad because, okay, everybody dies at the same time everywhere across the map apparently. So Earthshaker got caught on the mid lane, just wanted to ward. Then there was Tiny out of nowhere. Wait, was that? I wish I would have seen that, because I think that was one of those situations where you put down a ward and all of a sudden you see, oh crap, there was an Invis hero behind me ready to kill me. And Kunkka died off as well. So many casualties all across the board. We had 2 kills a minute. Team Alpha Red, they gotta rely on BB to output a ton of damage here. He is able to do so. With the armor reduction, he's got the epic familiars. Earthshaker dragged into the Tiny. Going to go down again. Kunkka secured the kill there though. Yamate now trying to kill off the Abaddon with the Silver Edge, but not quite successful in that. Gets turned on, in comes the ship on 3. Visage kills off Ling on the sideline. Yamate tasting a bit of his own medicine there.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
He's able to get out of sight range. Can now proc the Silver Edge to try and turn around if he wants to. Decides not to risk it. That Coffee Mix will go down. Tiny would have loved to kill off Nevermind, but doesn't want to take the risk. MyPro just committing a one-man Chronosphere here onto the Kunkka. I think he had hoped to find the Tiny too and have his entire team go ahead and dive. And now the mid tower is getting pushed down. Alpha Red returning the aggression here a bit. Instead of just trying to play it passively, trying to play it slow, because they can't. They learned that the hard way last game. If we look at the net worth, they are making a bit of a comeback thanks to that good mid fight. They can't quite kill off the Tiny. But with BB's current net worth, they might not even need to as of yet. If Visage just gets a good Aghanims timing, things could turn around a bit.
Oh, bounty!
I wonder what Tiny is going to go for next. I mean, he could go for the Blink Dagger, enabling him to get into position, but then he needs to get in all of his damage every time, because he will not have that insane momentum going, especially now that he's no longer head of net worth. It doesn't quite matter that much yet. But Visage can really snowball once you're getting ahead at this stage of the game. Later on, Visage falls off a bit. The only thing that scales to late game is the tankiness from the Gravekeeper's Cloak. Because with every point of armor you get, with every point of spell resistance you get, will scale better. Yamate baiting as a 3-man smoke gank is coming in, hoping that somebody's going to rotate onto Yamate there and they can catch him. And now Shadow Shaman shows himself. They're just going to push the tier 2 tower, got 2 people as backup. Still smoked up. There is no dire ward in the area, so the smoke might not even be necessary. It's going to be an attempted gank on the Visage with the ship coming in. But they don't quite have the damage to pull it off. Not without the Tiny, who meanwhile just slammed down the bottom tier 2. One more tier 2 tower alive in the middle lane. Abaddon.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower has been
I'm
denied.
guessing Tiny's kind of getting pissed off by Abaddon doing that mid-air ultimate thing. Yamate going to go for a Blink Dagger. And I mean, I'm going to be very honest here. He could just buy an Orchid if he feels like it. Tiny with Orchid amplifying your DPS a great deal. Both great for hitting buildings as well as for killing Abaddon. Not bad against the Void. The only drawback is that the Orchid, it doesn't help you scale your damage up. Blink Dagger doesn't either, but Blink Dagger enables you to actually land your damage combo, and my pro going to get just insta-killed here. It was pretty close. If it wasn't for Coffee Mix, he could have gotten away, because Tiny, you kill with the combo, or any hero with an escape skill will just get away. Shake going to take a ton of damage. Gets follow-up, stun locked up. Look at that. Now Tiny is in there as well. Going through the Visages. Gravekeeper's Cloak. Abaddon still tanking up everything. But now his ultimate's going to end. Just a nice quick insta-kill. And the tier 3 is exposed. There might not be all the tier 1 or tier 2s taken yet, but you don't really need to, because you only got time to push one lane of Rex at best anyways. So that's what's going to happen here.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
And all for red.
Dire's top tower has fallen. Radiant's middle tower is
This is
under
kind of sad for them. I mean, oftentimes when the first game is somewhat close and you lose it, the second game is going to be a little bit more definitive. Which is, of course, okay, we know the enemy is better than us. Let's try to go for an all or nothing kind of approach to this game. That's very often the case, such as now. Alpharet, they really banked on the Visage snowballing. Instead it went Tiny and Venomancer snowball. Veno going for the Shiva's build here. You don't see that a lot anymore. Hurricane Pike into Shiva's. Interesting. I mean, Tiny, I'm paying the most attention to him because he delivers the most damage. Is now just going to buy an Echo Saber. Get more nuke damage. Screw being able to kill Abaddon and Void. You don't need to catch them, you just need to deliver the damage. You don't need to make sure that during the time it takes for one Avalanche toss to connect, you can kill your opponent off. Alpha Red now going for a smoke gank. And it looks like they will find NJ, who blinks out immediately and dodges the fissure, is going to get out of there. So not only do you not hit the target you desire with that smoke, The consolation prize is also just running away, and this is depressing, I'm not gonna lie. Alvarez, they aren't out of this yet. With the Faceless Void, with the Evidence, everything can happen. But Yamate, he is the raid boss. You need to take down this Tiny somehow. He's sitting at nearly 3k health. Chronosphere committed on the Tiny, but the Craggy exterior messing with the Void a little bit. Now in comes the Torrent. Tiny going in with turning around on the Void. Void goes down instantaneously. Yamate beyond godlike. Alpha Red, they tried to fight, didn't succeed, so now Tiny is going to run over them. Someone going for a silence though. I don't know, the thing is they're kind of taking the risk that Evident gets out of hand still. Which of course, if new beginning, in comes an Echo Slam turnaround. Venomancer with the Shivas will be able to create some space. Tiny meanwhile killing off BB. Now kills off the Venomancer. Or the Venomancer, what? The Earthshaker, I mean. And never mind, going to be the last target. Goes down as well. Tiny tosses him, turns around. Good game, well played, getting called here. As Tiny pretty much wipes the entire team, and you see this a lot of times. A team sees, okay,